Judge hands Trump admin major legal loss on Alligator Alcatraz. Immigration policy in the U.S. is facing fresh turbulence as the Trump administration encounters legal, political, and procedural challenges. From court battles over detention centers to visa suspensions and expanded vetting, the developments mark a significant moment in the nation's immigration debate. If you are interested in this topic, please pay attention and watch the video through to the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. A federal ruling has halted the Trump administration's efforts to expand the controversial Alligator Alcatraz immigration detention site at the Dade Collier Training and Transition Airport. U.S. District Judge Kathleen M. Williams issued the decision late Thursday, banning the acceptance of new detainees and ordering an immediate halt to further construction at the location. Court orders dismantling of installed infrastructure. In her ruling, Judge Williams gave federal officials 60 days to dismantle and remove infrastructure that had already been put in place for the expansion. This includes fencing, sewage systems, lighting equipment, gas lines, generators, and waste receptacles, all of which were installed in anticipation of the facility's growth. The decision effectively pauses one of the most visible elements of Trump's second-term immigration enforcement strategy: broader political and social significance. The Alligator Alcatraz Detention Center has been at the center of intense national debate. Supporters of the administration have praised it as a necessary step to strengthen border security and manage undocumented immigration. However, critics including Democratic lawmakers, civil rights organizations, and environmental advocates argue that the site represents an overreach of federal power, threatening both human rights and ecological balance. Environmental and tribal concerns. Much of the opposition stems from environmental lawsuits pointing to the location's proximity to the Florida Everglades, a fragile ecosystem already under pressure from climate change and development. The Miccosukee tribe of Indians has also raised objections, citing cultural ties to the land and fears that expansion could disrupt water sources and food supplies vital to their community. These concerns were central to the judge's decision, underscoring the intersection of environmental protection and indigenous rights in immigration policy disputes. Next steps and legal uncertainty. The administration has not yet revealed whether it intends to appeal the ruling. Legal experts note that the Department of Homeland Security may attempt to challenge the decision in higher courts, but any appeal could take months to resolve. In the meantime, the ruling represents a significant obstacle to one of Trump's most ambitious immigration initiatives, raising new questions about the administration's ability to pursue its detention-centered approach in the face of growing legal resistance. U.S. work visa update as Marco Rubio announces new pause. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced Thursday that the U.S. government has halted the issuance of commercial truck driver work visas, effective immediately. The abrupt decision follows heightened scrutiny after a fatal crash in Florida involving a foreign driver, which has fueled both safety debates and political controversy. Background behind the sudden halt. The policy shift comes as Federal and Transportation Department investigators probe a deadly accident in St. Lucie County, Florida. Harjinder Singh, a truck driver from India, has been charged with 3 counts of vehicular homicide. Authorities allege that Singh attempted an illegal U-turn in a semi-truck, colliding with a minivan and killing 3 people. Investigators later revealed that Singh had entered the U.S. unlawfully in 2018 through the southern border and went on to obtain a commercial driver's license in California. Administration's position on road safety. Rubio emphasized that the suspension is a matter of public safety. In a post on X, he wrote that the growing presence of foreign commercial drivers is endangering American motorists while also undermining opportunities for U.S. truckers. The move mirrors earlier actions by the Trump administration to tighten English language requirements for drivers of heavy vehicles. President Donald Trump previously signed an executive order mandating that truck drivers demonstrate English proficiency. The order stated that professional drivers must be able to read road signs, communicate effectively with law enforcement, and comply with weight and cargo inspections. According to administration officials, language competency is considered a non-negotiable safety requirement. Who is affected by the pause? A State Department spokesperson clarified that the freeze applies to applicants seeking to drive commercial trucks under H-2B, E-2, and EB-3 visa categories. The spokesperson added that the suspension will remain until federal agencies including the Departments of State, Labor, and Homeland Security review and strengthen their vetting procedures for such applicants. Political reactions to the crash and policy. The Florida crash has triggered strong responses from state and federal leaders. Governor Ron DeSantis condemned what he described as dangerous sanctuary state policies, pointing to California's issuance of Singh's license despite his lack of English proficiency. Illegal alien issued CDL by California. Doesn't even speak English. Sanctuary policies are deadly, DeSantis posted on X, arguing that both the driver and the employer should be held accountable. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy also weighed in, criticizing what he called lawless immigration and trucking policies. He insisted that drivers unable to speak or read English should not be allowed to operate commercial trucks, stressing that safety laws cannot be followed without language comprehension. What comes next? The government has not provided a timeline for how long the visa freeze will last. It remains unclear whether the administration plans to implement additional restrictions or make the pause indefinite. For now, federal agencies are reviewing licensing, language standards, and screening protocols in an effort to prevent tragedies like the one in Florida. The video highlights a larger national struggle, balancing public safety, immigration enforcement, and the labor needs of industries like trucking. While the administration frames the decision as protecting lives on American roads, critics argue it could worsen labor shortages without addressing the root causes of highway safety risks. Trump administration to review 55M U.S. visa holders. U.S. State Department. Trump administration to review 55 million U.S. visa holders for potential rule violations. The Trump administration is reviewing the records of more than 55 million U.S. visa holders for potential revocation or deportable violations of immigration rules, in a significant expansion of Donald Trump's immigration crackdown. In a move first reported by the Associated Press, the State Department said that all of the foreigners who currently hold valid U.S. visas are subject to continuous vetting for any indication that they could be ineligible for the document, including those already admitted into the country. Should such evidence come to light, the visa would be revoked and, if the visa holder were in the United States, they would be subject to deportation. The State Department revokes visas anytime there are indications of a potential ineligibility, which includes things like any indicators of overstays, criminal activity, threats to public safety, engaging in any form of terrorist activity, or providing support to a terrorist organization, a department spokesperson said. It follows an announcement by the Trump administration on Tuesday that it will look for anti-American views, including on social media, when assessing the applications of people wanting to live in the United States. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, which handles requests to stay in the U.S. or become a citizen, said it would expand vetting of the social media postings of applicants and that reviews for anti-American activity will be added to that vetting. America's benefits should not be given to those who despise the country and promote anti-American ideologies, said a USCIS spokesperson, Matthew Trugesser. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services is committed to implementing policies and procedures that root out anti-Americanism and supporting the enforcement of rigorous screening and vetting measures to the fullest extent possible. Immigration, including to live and work in the United States, remain a privilege, not a right. Historically, the notion of anti-Americanism has primarily focused on communism. But since taking office in January, the Trump administration has moved aggressively to deny or rescind short-term visas for people deemed to go against U.S. foreign policy interests, especially regarding Israel. Indeed, the latest guidance on immigration decisions said that authorities will look at whether applicants promote anti-Semitic ideologies. The Trump administration has accused students and universities of anti-Semitism and support for terrorism over participation in protests in support of Palestinian rights and against Israel's military assault on Gaza, charges denied by the activists. In April, the administration revoked or changed the legal status of hundreds of international students, only to reinstate them several weeks later. In May, student visa interviews were temporarily halted, and then, in June, new social media vetting measures were introduced for international students applying to study in the U.S. Under the new measures, foreign students are required to unlock their social media profiles to allow U.S. diplomats to review their online activity before receiving educational and exchange visas. Those who fail to do so are to be suspected of hiding that activity from U.S. officials. On Monday, the State Department said it had revoked 6,000 student visas for overstays and violations of local, state and federal law since the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, took office in January. In the vast majority of the cases, approximately 4,000 visas were revoked because the holders broke the law in cases of assault, driving under the influence, burglary, and support for terrorism. This video reflects the administration's aggressive stance on immigration enforcement, sparking both legal resistance and political division. As policies unfold, their impact on communities, labor markets, and international relations will continue to draw intense scrutiny. That is all for today, in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later, in the next video. Till then, take care.
The hence Trump admin major legal laws on Alligator Alcatraz. A federal court has delivered a major setback to the Trump administration by blocking expansion of the Alligator Alcatraz detention center at Florida's dead Collier Echo. Judge Kathleen M. Williams ordered a halt to construction, ban new detainees, and mandated removal of infrastructure within 60 days. The ruling was influenced by objection from environmental groups and the Mikosuke tribe, who cited ecological harm to the Everglades and indigenous cultural concern. Meanwhile, Secretary of State Marco Rubio suspended issuance of truck driver visas S2B E2 EV3 following a deadly Florida crash involving an undocumented immigrants turned licensed driver. Officials cited safety and English language standards, though critics warned the post would deepen labor shortages. In a broader move, the administration is reviving records of over 55 million US visa holders under continuous waiting, with a potential revocation for overstays, crimes, or anti-American activity. New screening emphasizes social media politicking anti-Semitic or anti-Israel views and suspected support for terrorism, sparking sharp political divides and student visa revocation.